have a kind of a good general rule of thumb that I like to use, and it applies to most businesses. Most businesses have some sort of seasonality. Every business has a Q4 seasonality, and every business usually has a Q1 seasonality where it's like it might be big and then small, or even vice versa. Like,
Or
some
summer,
companies,
winter.
yeah,
Yeah.
some companies like their Q4 is technically January. Like it's all of a sudden that's like their Black Friday, Cyber Monday, Christmas time, yada yada yada. But one thing that I think is important is unless you have boatloads of cash and unless you have, an unlimited supply of just funds and time, you're going to want to react to that. You're going to want to react to that seasonality in an appropriate way. And I have an extreme example that we've been doing this for like the last 3 years. So this one here, they sell hammocks, and not a lot of people in January want to go and hang in a hammock. It's just kind of the thing. And you can see
Kind of a thing.
yeah, kind of a thing. You can see our like 2022 was May and then June and then May. So May is kind of May and June. That's a perfect season for hammocks. You can see out here a little Q4 bump, 192, 579, 675. Like you see them growing, but obviously we have a pretty clear cut and dry time of period where our heyday where we make 75% of the revenue is within 3 months of summer. It's like May, June, July, or sometimes even like a little bit in April, but pretty much just kind of like, May and June, if you just want to be, pick 2 to 3 months.
Yeah. Getting ready for summer kind of thing.
Right. And what you'll notice is they're kind of like a dual purpose here. So you'll see that in this time period in June, we had like kind of lower traffic, and then we had a little bit more traffic here and more traffic here. Then we had, a better sales time period and more traffic here. So you can kind of see that there's this arc that we're going through, and there's this arc that we're going through. This is not by chance. This is by strategy. And what you want to make sure you don't do is just like, you say, okay, so sales are dropping off, like, yeah, like hit it to the moon. Like you don't just want to, create that.
Follow it. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's probably pretty obvious, but well, I think it would be obvious, and it's really not. And so people are like, okay, well, what now? Should we just like keep the spend the same? It's obviously going well. It's like, well, market demand and brand awareness and product demand are a thing. Like we have to, we have Nike. Even Nike goes through this stuff. Like people buy shoes when they're on sale, and then like during the fall, they'll probably die off a little bit. In the spring, they kick up more and probably hold through the summer. There's got to be seasonality. There's never a business where it's just like completely flat every month of every year. So when you're looking at, okay, now that we have a loss of demand, obviously this is, December 3rd. So our traffic is down obviously here, but what you want to look at is what has the scale been? So 500, 750, over a million. Okay. So it's growing pretty quickly and growing pretty efficiently. So what would be our next peak? So we got 470, 7 and 1.1. So we gained about 300-ish thousand every year during the summertime, and just May alone. So what we want to look at is very simple. So 86,000 users, 142, 150. We're actually a little bit more effective this time of year because we got a little bit smarter on things, and maybe sure we don't just like try to hit the gas like way too early like we did here in April and just kind of shoot all the profitability out before we kind of learn. So you kind of develop a habit, develop learning over time. Like you can double down, but if it's freezing out, no one's buying hammocks, period. No one just wakes up one day and be like, oh my God, I need a yellow hammock. They doubled their spend today.
The marketing was so good. I have to buy it now.
The frequency increased and they upped their T-ROAS. I need to buy a hammock. Whoa.
I think I also think that's what a lot of happen. I think that's what a lot of performance marketers also like forget sometimes too, is you get so into the numbers, you realize, wait a minute, no one's going to buy right now because I don't know, there's some kind of event or whatever the case is, or it's Christmas. People don't want to buy stuff on Christmas or something.
Right. It doesn't matter what the bidding strategy is if you're just trying to sell a flaming bag of dog shit. Like it just doesn't matter.
It's true. Like, as blunt as you can be.
I mean, damn. Like it's interesting how many times.
Rate good after that.
Right. So like kind of what you want to do is if you're looking at the spends here, like our spend level was here, like kind of thing. Like all that means is that there is going to be an increase in spend levels, but appropriately. Our spend level didn't, do this here. Like we're not like, oh no, our spend level went up, but our revenue didn't. And now all of this is just lost profit. Like we didn't do that, obviously, because you can see over here on the right, like it's down. So it follows the traffic. It's very, very simple. Bring it way back to the basics, traffic and conversions. That's why Ryan Dice did a whole speech and seminar and in-person events for years off of that company. Then Clarion bought it. Now it's gone. That sucked. But anyway, traffic and conversion.
That was a good little trip there.
You guys just went on my ADD side quest. We're back. But what's interesting is a lot of times this is not as common sense. I really thought it would be. Like, all right, obviously we're going to be pulling back, right? They're like, wait, what? It's like, yes, like people are gone. So I know that it may sound to everybody that's on this in this school kind of chat, watch this video when it's recorded live, it may probably be more second nature to you, because if you're here, you're elevated. You're not like figuring out what a keyword is and how match types work. Like you are the pros. So what's interesting about this is maybe this is more towards not teaching you, but giving you ammunition into how to have these conversations with your clients.
Yeah,
And
I think that's the good way to frame it is ammunition, just because, I mean, the timing's perfect.
right.
So.
Yeah. I mean, it's literally the day after Black Friday. It's like, now what? Or Cyber Monday. And so that's what I always look at is if you were to draw a line, it looks like this. Like this is kind of our spend levels. Like they just kind of follow here. But what you'll notice is they're always elevated above the blue line, whether it's a low time or a high time. Our spend levels do that. Then that's why the traffic levels on the other side over here are also kind of, oh Jesus, I don't know what I'm pressing buttons on. But that's why this is also, kind of heading up in this direction on the peaks. Like there is, and then we pull back. It's not that, traffic died off in CPC 3x. We just pulled back ad spend. Very, very simple. So how do you scale up? Well, what did you do in January of 2023? Sorry, 2024.
Yeah.
God, time flies. It's like, what did you spend on what channels and what worked and what didn't in Q1 of 2024? Like look back a little bit. And then if everything looks healthy and there's not many big changes, still the same products, about the same customers, still the same goals. If everything is just like a normal day, it could be as simple as adding 20% spend to all of the channels that brought you Q1 performance. Just again in 2025 now. So adding in like, okay, Meta spend 200 grand. Maybe we spend 240. Google spend 100 grand. Maybe we spend 120. Maybe you can test some ancillary channels, but don't forget about your core scaling. Don't forget about your traffic and your conversion. What is working will work, and sometimes will work even more if you've had a year since you've actually scaled it. So what's nice about that is your Q1 2025 should be spending less than your Q4 2024, but it's spending more than Q1 2024. So if you keep that same 20% and push for that, it should give you optimal performance and good slow growth.
I know year-over-year growth is exactly. Yeah. Looking for year-over-year growth, not maxing out. Oh, we got this client to scale by 10x in 3 months, and then you look at it and it's like Q4. It's like that's a false positive. So
exactly. And that's what's nice too, is like if you were to do this and if you got more efficient, and I share screen again, if you get more efficient, or if you find little, pockets and loopholes, whatever it may be. If you're just like, hey, I got a little bit smarter, a little bit better, whatever it is. This year, we did the same thing with this company here. We found a better product that actually sold, had a less AOV, but way more sales. And so we can see here that with a better SKU list for us in marketing, not focusing on the product that we're going to, we focus on more of a middle product that acquires kind of the high values and low value buyers, so that I can actually increase the frequency of our purchases and not go for a bunch of little ones or onesie, twosie, big ones. We found a good middle ground. And so what's nice about that is it's very, very simple. So we have 14% more traffic. We have 57% more orders. And that brought us a 35% increase in our revenue. So we paid for 14% more traffic. We made 35% more revenue. Now, it was not like, just scale to the moon, explosive growth. You see right here, the delta between this is there. Now there was a little whoopsie daisy here, but then it kind of came right back on track. And same thing with our spends. Like you can see that we pushed harder in Q4 and it worked out well. The delta was bigger over here when we pushed harder. We push at appropriate times. Same thing with orders. Don't look at that. That's a glitch in the system. Something like there was something that went out that was like free orders, and a bunch of people claimed like free straps, and actually there wasn't any free straps. So there's 4,000 free straps that went out one day. That was fun.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. That was a lot of fun. But you can kind of see all of a sudden the orders are also elevated. So you want to kind of keep it really consistent. And a 35% growth year over year means that company doubles every 3 years. That's massive. That's a big growth for a company. It's only making 6.6 million a year, which seems like, a lot of money, and it is, but it's also technically a small business. It's by a husband and wife team right now. So great. You can see that growth is just always, okay, let's try to do 20% better than we did every day last year, in comparison. And so those ways of increasing efficiencies along with a slow growth that you're not going to try to necessarily just overshoot market demand. It doesn't matter if it's on Meta, YouTube, Google. You can have a product that's like the best things to slice bread and instantly goes viral. Okay. I'm not sure. Have you ever heard of those things like the Trump watches and the Trump shoes? Have you heard those ads?
No, I haven't.
There's an ad on like Sirius XM radio on like both Fox and CNN where it's like, it's Trump time, and they sell Trump watches and Trump shoes.
That's awesome.
A person we used to work with at Solutions 8 is actually running those ads, and it's just like, just scale to the moon. That, yeah, again, right after election, boom, just hit. There's seasonality to everything. And so that's what we want to make sure is that we're looking at a good, slow, positive growth, not overshooting demand, but inching it up 20% more than what we could have